A couple other points to be made here too. It does cover new technologies, but I'm going to be honest with everybody out there that, hey, we got the latest and greatest whiz-bang. Look, our keysters are on the line for 20 years. We're guaranteeing this. So, you know, it's not as easy for us to adopt new technology when there's absolutely no track record. And if anybody paid attention the last 5 or 10 years what happened in the LED market, most of them are out of business. Why? Because they had a real quality problem, or they just fly by night. I always say, hey, if you got a glue gun, you can be the LED manufacturer. No pun intended there, Scott and Justin, but yeah. But my point is, we're partnering with people that have been around for a while, they have good backers, they're financially strong. We get calls all the time, all the time with the latest, greatest whiz-bang, and we're very, very cautious with that. Now with that said, and Kurt touched on this a little bit, look, there's a lot of GCs out there that get a call, ring, ring, hey, we're interested in upgrading our HVAC system. You're going to walk in there, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to look around and say, boy fellas, you need more than an HVAC system. Well, that doesn't mean that you should stop there. Call Andy's office and say, hey, I got a client here that I think could probably really, really use this. Can you help me, or who should I be talking to work with them? Like I said, I see it every day. We go into buildings and they say, hey, we need a new heater, and I look up and they got windows that are single pane from the early 1900s. I'm like, you need more than that, okay? So, and that's part of what we do too, is we're not going to sell somebody something that they don't necessarily need. I'm not going to put in a new heating system when I know they're not going to save any money because, look, it's all going out the window because we're on the hook for it. So we're very cautious about, what we're doing and the approach we take. So this is kind of a little late, but the big thing, biodigesters, the incinerators, they don't qualify. I look at it this way. If we can calculate it, it's going to qualify. The biggest issue is achieving the cash flow positive, and that's really the work. I mean, the auditing is a lot of work and all that type of stuff. It's all the data. I mean, it's just a lot of data crunching to make it all work. But wait, there's more. Okay, so this is a little outside the PACE program, but what I want everybody to understand is that when you guys get involved in these big projects, first of all, it's outside of your comfort zone. If you own a building, what's your responsibility? Either it's taking care of the tenants, or making the widget, or selling services. It's not being an expert in energy efficiency, all the tax credits, incentives, and all that. That's what we do. That's what we do for a living, okay? Andy knows PACE. Why? Because that's what he does for a living. But I wouldn't go to him for brain surgery, because I probably wouldn't turn out really well. So our approach, and we want everybody else to think about this, is we have what we call our 4 cores: services, technologies, incentives, and financing. All right, we already talked about the technologies and the financing, okay? That's what makes this whole thing work. But the services and the incentives are also a really, really big part of this. Now, they're not part of PACE, but we're all in here to what? Make our clients make more money. So I want to, quote, increase that margin. How do I do that? Show them how they can save money outside of the PACE program. So if I say I'm going to save you 20% ROI from year 1 through 20, I can increase that to 25% through some of the other things that we're going to show you here. So services, utility bill analysis. How many people in this room that own a company look at their bills every month and know what every line item is and whether you're being charged the right rates or taxes? Anybody? Exactly. We're working with a facility today They own a manufacturing company. They lease the property, but they pay the bills. It used to be an office building. They gutted it out. Overnight, they're a manufacturing building company. Ring, ring, hey DTE, here's our address, change the bill over. They've been there for 4 years. They've been paying state sales tax for 4 years. Statute is, they're a manufacturer, they're not supposed to. It's over $3,000 a month they're paying in taxes, okay? These are things that we do, or we can help you do these through the partners that we have. Utility Choice Program. Sean's here from Volunteer Energy. I'm going to let him tell you about that. You have a choice, all right? And a lot of people don't know that. Even as residents, you have a choice, but as business owners, you have a choice. One of the big programs we have going on in Warren, they use natural gas for their process. They operate 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, because you imagine what that gas bill is. And well, we just actually signed them up recently. But those are examples of kind of what we bring. So Sean, if you could tell us a little bit, about the program, how it's controlled, because a lot of people, I'll be honest, there was a lot of fly-by-nights when the whole thing started, and there was some, let's say, not so good contact or methods and stuff. Maybe you can touch on some of that too.
Yeah, so the program is called Customer Choice, and you summarized it well. Very few people are aware of the Customer Choice program in Michigan. There's roughly 3 million customers between Consumers Energy and DTE, residents, businesses, and out of that, less than 11% of the customers have chosen a supplier, and for the most part it's because they're unaware of it, or they've heard some of the stories like Scott has mentioned. What Customer Choice is, just to explain that first of all, we're not a competitor with the utility company. If you're with Consumers Energy, if you're with DTE Energy, you can't leave either of those utility companies. They are your utility company. The choice part comes in where you can choose who provides the gas on your behalf. So where we come in at, or a supplier would provide the gas to the utility company at a predetermined price we'd work out with our customer. And that's the price the customer is billed at. And so the program is very simple. They get a bill from the utility company like we've always done. Our name would show up on the bill, or the supplier's name shows up on the bill. But they don't leave the utility company. That's not even an option. So our role, to explain it, just give an example, we are very similar to, say, a FedEx, UPS, US Mail. If I order a new phone from Verizon, they charge me $100 for the phone, UPS delivers it. UPS is only getting paid for delivering the product. And that's what the utility companies are paid for. They are a local distribution company. They get paid for bringing the commodity to your home or your business. It's a very important role. They're responsible for maintaining the system, making sure everything is safe, but they're not allowed to make money on the product itself because they're the only ones who can bring it to you. So their price is called the gas cost recovery charge. It's a pass-through expense. Whatever their cost is, that's what they're going to charge. When someone chooses a supplier, the benefit can be severalfold. One, it could be a guaranteed savings product. A supplier can say, well, we'll guarantee you a certain percentage below whatever you're paying the utility company each month. As the utility company's prices change, ours will adjust as well, but the savings is locked in and it's a guaranteed percentage. Or for some folks, they'll choose to go with a fixed rate. We've got customers, actually, we've got a client not too far from here, 25% of their operating cost is natural gas. They have 30 acres under glass over in, that facility is in Coldwater, headquarters is over here though. So for them, it's not so much about let's compare ourselves to the utility company. They've looked at their budget, they know what they have to sell their tomatoes for. They can't allow 25% of their cost to fluctuate. So in that scenario, they want to lock in a price. And so that's what a lot of businesses do. What Scott mentioned as far as bad experiences, because people are ill-informed. People don't know about the Customer Choice Program, and sometimes they'll just take the word of someone who's given them a clever presentation and maybe give the impression that sign up at this price and it's a good price, to make a long story short. And in reality, it's not. So there is some discernment required there. But in short, that's what Customer Choice is. The commodity part of the bill typically represents 70% of what someone's going to pay. So if you open up your bill and you're paying $1,000 this month, $700 of that is going to be for the commodity. The other 30% of it is going to be made up of the other components. It could be taxes, it could be your distribution fee. But so when you can take advantage of some of the incentives that are available to reduce your consumption, like what the PACE program offers and the various new technology offers, then couple that with reducing what you're actually paying for the commodity, it's sort of like buying a hybrid car. You're reducing your consumption, getting your gas mileage, and you're paying very little at the pump. So that's the advantage of Customer Choice.
Can you talk a little bit about the process itself? I mean, it's easy. Let's just say that.
Yeah, the process is very simple. We came into Michigan because of McDonald's, actually. We supply all the corporate McDonald's across Michigan and Ohio. We have 50,000 plus customers just here in Michigan. We work with about 270 plus municipalities. So I say that just because when you're dealing with those folks, if it's a complicated process, at least with what we do, you reduce the level of interest. It's pretty simple. A customer chooses a program, whatever the supplier is offering, fills out a form, that gets submitted to the utility company, and with it, usually the next billing cycle or the following one, the supplier's name appears in the bill. So with that, there's no credit check, there's no concerns on that because the supplier gets paid by the utility company. We don't need access to checking accounts or anything like that.
And the other advantage too is that because of our partnership, we get access to data that business owners don't. Like, I know what they bought gas for in February and now they're using it today. So when we go into a customer and we say, you better sign up because it's going to go up, we have data that we can actually show them. So again, this is just another one of those things that when we go into a client, we're just not focused on, a couple of things. We look at everything, because we're a solution provider. The next thing, and Terry will talk about this, look, I touched on this before. You got a light hanging in your facility, it's personal property. It needs to be treated as such. Cost segregation, property abandonment, manufacturing R&D tax credits, hiring incentives. I can't tell you how many companies I walk into, they don't even use CPAs or even have any strategies in regards to tax. So Terry, what I'd like you to do is cover a couple of things. One, some of the strategies as far as working with PACE, meaning like on the abandonment side, but also from the property ownership standpoint, because again, this is just money that's sitting on the table, and 9 out of 10 people that own buildings, they don't know that it exists, and a lot of the CPA firms don't know it either.
It's all about education, and it's good to know about these things. So, this is all about a holistic approach with your clients. So what we do from a tax side, and this is ever changing, case law is changing, real estate makes up a big chunk of this. So, if you have clients that own buildings, there's certain things that need to be looked at. And as this energy and pace evolves, what we do from a standpoint of cost recovery and ROI is, like Scott said, cost segregation studies. Those of you that maybe you've heard about it, maybe you know about it, I know there's some CPAs in the room, so I'll just touch on it real quick. You've got a building, let's say it costs $1 million. The normal accounting method you would depreciate that building over 39 years. That is the normal accounting method we call the straight line method, okay? That's probably 9 out of 10 buildings will depreciate that way in the United States. With a cost segregation study, we can accelerate the depreciation out of that building. Let's say 30% of that $1 million can be written off in the first 5 years and 7 years. So we're front loading all that depreciation that normally you would have to wait for 39 years. We can actually get that for our clients in the first 5 and 7 years. So it creates an enormous cash flow situation. So I don't want to get into a technical training here today, but just understand what that word is. You can go to our website, you can Google it. I've got a brochure back there. It is such a powerful, probably one of the most powerful real estate tax strategies that exist. And I will tell you that probably 85% of the business owners, commercial property owners that we talk to on a daily basis have never even heard of it, or they're not being educated on it. And there's been a lot of misconceptions on cost segregation. So just kind of either write that down or file that away. It's very, very powerful, and we will do a free analysis on that. It blends in perfectly with when we're putting together a PACE project, because bottom line, Scott and everybody here, it's just leaving money on the table.